Hi, Outschool teachers. Happy Friday. My name is Latonya, and I am a part of the community team at Outschool. And today we have a guest. Bianca is going to join us, and we are going to talk about preparing for fall, marketing, and all of that good stuff that comes along with having an online teaching business through Outschool. Hi, Bianca.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
We are excited to have guests. So you are our second, well, sort of third because Julie and Andrea were on at the same time. But you're the second time we've had guests in our Friday check-in. So I'm thrilled that you were able to join us this morning.
Yeah.
Uh, so we're preparing for fall, even though it's still summertime, and even though parents are still signing up for camps and all of that good stuff. Why are we switching the conversation to talking about fall classes now?
Yeah. Well, first off, let me just share my title. I forgot to mention that in the beginning.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm the product marketing lead at Outschool. So my job is to look at behavior trends with our parents and our consumers and identify marketing opportunities to make sure that we are showing the best possible products to those customers. So, even though it's summer and we had a really awesome summer camp push, we already see trends in the media, parents asking questions in the community, and things talking about back to school. And while we know families probably will be last minute enrolling or waiting till they hear from their district about their plans or what their homeschooling plans are, and if things change, but we know people are starting to search for it, and we want to make sure that Outschool has classes available so that families know that there will be fall options for them. A lot of families that joined Outschool since March really only came on for last minute one-time classes or summer camps, so they don't fully know the homeschooling or remote learning solutions that the fall classes offer. So this marketing campaign is going to be educating parents about our semester-long classes, our ongoing classes, and that families can meet with teachers every week and build relationships and have social interactions over a long-term semester. And very different than how things were in March. So we're excited to start telling them about that.
Watching the trends, getting the information from the parent community, have you seen parents looking for particular types of classes for fall learning? Have parents kind of given us enough information to know what type of classes they are going to be looking for?
It's interesting because we're using data from last year that we know historically that this August and September, families tend to buy in bulk. These are the core homeschooling families that fill out their curriculum. So we know we're going to see families who homeschool full time or are planning to do it for the first time are going to buy classes in bulk, and most likely the semester long and ongoing classes based on the data from last year. And then the information we're learning from this year and what types of classes people are looking for is people are looking for academic solutions because their schools are only offering one, hybrid or part-time distance learning, and parents are worried that their learners are going to fall behind. And they want to make sure that there's an Outschool teacher that can help their student and their learner keep up. So there's a mix of enrichment and supplemental classes that we know are always going to be really interesting to learners and their families. But as we get closer to the semester and they're going to be balancing their own homeschool or their school's remote learning program, Outschool can supplement that and help students dive deeper. Oh, I think we lost Latonya.
I pressed the wrong button. I was trying to unmute myself. I noticed in the parent group, well, we have actually a parent started a poll, that's the word I'm looking for, started a poll to ask how were other families using Outschool? Were their children going back to the classroom and supplementing with Outschool when they can, or if they were taking on virtual schooling, I think she separated virtual schooling in those who are traditional homeschoolers. And I guess when I say traditional homeschoolers, those who've already bought into homeschooling. So they are like committed to the homeschooling, whether it's unschooling, self-directed learning. So she had this poll for the different types, and the ones that that already had people check that they would be doing that, they selected virtual schooling plus supplementing with interest-based classes or supplementing with core academic classes.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think what we'll see is families are going to be enrolling in all the classes. So there's not one specific subject or one specific area that we can direct them to. This marketing campaign will really be just educating families of classes that meet multiple times and these semester-long classes that they may have not tried before. But we anticipate everyone's still going to find their one-time class. Everyone's still going to find their short camp, or, and also it's easy to forget, but Outschool is an international product, and students, schools might be open in other places. Hours are very different. So, what I tell teachers who are already teaching on the platform is, if things are working, then continue offering classes that are working, but then try and experiment with some of the other semester and fall focused classes to see if there are families homeschooling and looking for those solutions that you can meet as well. So it's definitely a game of how do I get marketed, and how do I find those new families, but also keep the families that you're already serving.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that. And because because some teachers, particularly new teachers, who this will be their first time, maybe the summer was their first time teaching on Outschool, so the fall will be their first time teaching during the school year. And some teachers were wondering, there was one teacher that asked that she had been teaching ongoing classes. The 2 ongoing classes that she's teaching, they are going well. And she wanted to know if she should convert them or stop them as ongoing and change them to a semester type of class. So say it again.
Yes, if your classes are going well and you are having enrollments, don't fix what's working, let it keep running, and then experiment with new sections to meet these fall campaigns. But keep your classes and your one-times if you're getting families that way, and it's a good way to meet new learners, then you should continue that. But when you're looking for what to do this fall, and how, especially teachers that are wanting consistent scheduling, because the summer has been crazy, we're really excited to recommend ongoing and weekly semester-long classes, because that will hopefully give teachers some consistency as well. Yes. So, it's like, find those open blocks that you can do the other formats, and we'll continue marketing all Outschool classes. It's just with the fall, it's a chance for us to educate families of a different type.
Thanks, Bianca. So we talked about the type of classes we should schedule, and basically we can schedule them all. You're not saying don't schedule them all, but if you want to try out some of the semester long classes, this would be a good time to try them out, because we'll have a separate campaign to push those classes along with our regular campaigns that highlights all types of classes.
Exactly. That's a great way of summarizing it. And I know some teachers ask, like, should we do, more core academic or arts or specific subjects? And it's the same thing. There isn't one specific subject that we're seeing being the high demand. I will just say, from recent data, STEM classes just always seem to be doing very well. It's a very high demand topic, and arts and languages. So it is all, and everyone has really, all the unique teachers offer really great interest-based classes. So even if it's like a social studies class, there's a way to combine that in with technology or ways that families get excited by. So with Outschool, it's so unique, and all the classes are so unique. We can't really suggest one specific topic because that's not what Outschool is.
Yep, I totally agree. I think just reminding you guys, teachers, to continue teaching what you love and what you're passionate about teaching. And if you show up as yourself and you show up excited about the content and topic that you're teaching, it'll go over into run over to the students, and the students will maybe catch your excitement, and then they will continue to look for you for that particular topic. And in that same vein, we all approach the topic like there are a lot of art teachers. I teach art. Carmen teaches art. Amber teaches art. There are a lot of art teachers in this community, but we all do it differently. And I know with my art classes are super quiet, but one of the best reviews that I got was the student, his mom shared that he looks forward to art because it's his relaxation time each week. And so to me, that was encouraging because it reminded me that I'm showing up, approaching the topic the way I feel natural. It's a natural thing for me to do it the way that I do it. I'm not trying to duplicate what someone else is doing or compete with my fellow art teachers. I'm just showing up as myself. And so the same is true when you're creating your classes for the fall. You're thinking about, what can I teach that's going to reflect my love of this topic, that will draw the learners in if they kind of vibe with your teaching style, because we're not going to be able to teach every child on Outschool. So it is important to consider the child that you're looking or the type of child that would benefit from your teaching style. So I just said that as encouragement because there's so many ideas. If we continue to look on the website, we'll see new teachers, they're offering new things. And then some of the things get very popular, and then it can make you question your thing, but don't do that. Just don't do that. Just believe in what you're doing and it'll work out as long as you're consistent.
Exactly. And, when you see like there's all these other art classes, maybe they don't need more, that's so not true, because especially scheduling is such a difficult situation for families, as, the hours might not work theirs, or the age range. Like there's so many different factors that families are filtering for. So like that perfect class and that perfect teacher fit will be discovered, and then help, they have a great experience. So that makes total sense. And thank you, Latonya, for encouraging people to teach what they're passionate about.
No problem. Yeah, that's what I try to do. Like just remind all of us that we have something to offer to the community, even if someone else is offering a similar thing. So
yeah, and I'm just gonna add, like, if you're a teacher offering, life skills, wellness, or extracurricular, or for example, like a photography class, and it's working really well for your summer camp, or it's working well for your, ongoing drop-in classes, I'd encourage ways to explore ways to, to transform that lesson plan into a semester long. Because even though it doesn't feel like it could be a core topic, I think almost anything can be, if you're going to offer a variety of different takeaways in the family, reading the descriptions, like, oh, they're going to learn project management, like for, let's say a 10-week photography course, they're going to learn project management, they're going to learn editing skills, they're going to learn taking feedback, like that, that's a whole semester long course on its own, if you describe it that way. And families are looking for project-based or longer-term classes this fall, because no matter their schooling situation, everyone's looking for just some consistency in the schedule and some social connection. And it is hard to do that. It is hard to do that with just one-time classes. You need to form those relationships.
Yeah. And when you were talking about the photography for 10 weeks, I just imagine the kids being able to really connect because, ongoing classes are great because that's what I mostly teach, but I'm going to throw a little love to the semester type classes too, because they're in that class together for such an extended period of time and they don't have to worry about someone coming in and coming out to adapt to. They could, they can get a sense of each other's style, as far as the photography, because I'm still thinking about the photography class. Yeah. And even how once they know the learners who are in the group with them, they can even encourage them to create in the style that speaks to that particular learner. Because they, with photography, just like art, there's going to be all different types of visions. And so I think that having semester classes, even for our arts, music, photography, writing, creative writing, it gives them kind of like a mastermind for grownups. They have this group that they can lean into as they become better in whatever they're working on.
I love seeing I love seeing all of those topics and courses, and even just like the physical PE or the wellness ones, because you can do a dance class for 30 minutes, but then imagine if the opportunity to have a longer term class and to improve over time. Mm-hmm. Yes. Family, when they're able to see that impact on their learners, their homeschooling families for doing homeschooling for the first time, they're really not sure, like, is this working? Is it working for our lifestyle? And I think having them in a class that needs we can see at the end of 2 months, there's this huge improvement. Then they know it's working and families have peace of mind. And I realize I should have said this earlier, but also families are not looking to buy classes every week. It's, like looking at the schedule and taking out their credit card every time. And the other benefit of these like subscription ongoing classes and these longer classes that they just pay for it in bulk all up front in August or September, and then they don't have to think about it until the winter. So that's what we saw last year. That's what we saw at the beginning of the summer. People bought all summer stuff in May and June. And then they can just relax knowing that they have something to look forward to.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you said that. That reminds me that I probably should go schedule some stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Now is the time. It's like, I need to lie. So they're not buying anything right now, but you never know. It's really
scary. Yeah. They're trickling, like a few here and there, maybe not the big buy that we'll see in a few weeks. So what kind of marketing should the teachers expect from Outschool?
Yeah, so Outschool is always marketing our classes, outschool.com year round. And that's done through our email campaign. So when a family signs up, they give us their preferences, their learner age and time preferences, and we send those weekly emails based on their preferences. So any classes that are available or scheduled will be included in those campaigns. And that goes for the same for our year-round advertising campaigns. So classes that have available sections always are added into our Facebook or Google catalog and are included in those marketing campaigns. So that's not going to stop. That's going to include flex classes. That's going to include all the other formats. But for this back to school fall campaign, we're definitely going to be educating them about the class type of weekly, semester long or ongoing classes, just because, like I mentioned, a lot of these families joined in spring and summer and don't even know that this is an option. So like this is the time that we'll be emailing families a few times starting in August through September about back to school solutions. We're going to continue reaching out to press. That's another area that we're always trying to find stories to find local news or bigger news stations to explain what Outschool teachers are doing and seeing, what Outschool families and learners are experiencing, because everyone can relate to that. So we're going to continue telling those stories. Let's see what else to expect from this shift from summer into fall. Emails, paid advertising, press, and then social media. Those are kind of the staples of our marketing, but we'll continue our other conversations that we're doing and just slightly change it for back to school.
Okay. Is there anything that teachers could do to, well, I won't say ensure, but to give themselves a better chance of being part of Outschool's marketing campaign?
Having more sections scheduled is and having more availability. I don't want any teachers burning out, though. Obviously, you have to find balance. But when you create a section, having at least 3 options and 3 time choices is great, because when a family clicks on a Facebook ad and goes to that class, and there may only be one or 2 options, then they might move on to another class because that doesn't fit their time. So I do suggest scheduling more things in advance, knowing that not everything will actually go through, but just trying to optimize to different families' needs is great for being discovered when they see an email and then they filter for their time, or that just more chances for it being included in those catalogs. And then let's see what else. Other ways, some teachers are really comfortable marketing to their own networks, and other teachers are, definitely don't have to. They don't have to market their own classes. However, word of mouth and just talking and with your family and your community is always a great way of spreading awareness, because they're going to want to take your class if they trust you. And you don't have to do it in a over-promoting, self-promoting way, but just continuing to share your story and what you're doing and how your progress has gone. And we'll remind people when they do look for online classes, they'll look for your name. And then go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, I remember my first, my first full year teaching on Outschool. So fall 2017, that was my first fall. And I hang out in some homeschool groups because I am a homeschool parent. One of the parents asked if any of the co-ops in our area would have math classes, or if co-ops were still taking students, even though, I don't know what co-ops will look like this year because of what's going on. But in 2017, when she was asking this question, it was the perfect opportunity for me to respond to her post to say, hey, I teach a math class on Outschool. You're more than welcome to check it out. And she did enroll her daughter in that class, and then the following class in private tutoring. So when we say you can share in other Facebook communities, you can, but it should be in an authentic way. It shouldn't be in a way of, please come take my class, come. But when parents ask questions, you can share what you offer to those parents without, pressuring them to take the class. And if they see, after they go to the site, if they see what you're offering and they feel like it would benefit their child, then it's a good chance that they will sign up. And also, not even when it just comes to my class, I went to a retreat. I think this was, in early 2018, and it was a moms there. And one of the moms, she was in medical school, and she was talking about her son and how he wanted to do I don't know, he wanted to learn something. And I said, well, have you heard of Outschool? So in this case, it wasn't me saying, come and take my class. It was just saying, have you heard of Outschool? Because there are a lot of classes that could meet your son's needs. So sometimes we think, oh, we need to share so we can get more students in our classes. But if you share just naturally, when people are asking in general, they might not take your class right away, but they might buy into Outschool. And when they need a class like yours, they'll circle back around to you. So sometimes it's not always about getting it right when you mention it. Sometimes you'll see you'll reap the benefits. It might be a few months later.
And we see that with our advertising all the time. They may see an Outschool ad for one specific class, but then they go off and buy 2 other classes in completely different topics. And you're like, oh, how does a math ad bring in animal classes, purchases for, and that's just that exactly. People see something, it sparks their interest. Maybe that ad didn't have a class at their time that they needed, but they'll save it and they'll go back to it later. So yeah, when talking to other people about Outschool, you mention that you teach, you can talk about things, but you don't have to overdo it if that's not what you're comfortable with, and it will pay off, I'm sure, in the long run.
I have this question. I'm just going to ask you, and if you don't know, or if you do know, anyway, I'm just going to ask the question. Do you think it's beneficial for teachers to have their own blogs or pages to help share what they are doing?
It's something that I haven't fully figured out yet. I do see teachers on Instagram when they're with their own, followers and their own families and friends sharing their Outschool experience when they had a class. Like, people get really excited and will reshare those Instagrams. However, for like Facebook pages and promoting, then we get into that territory that you said is like buy, or like, enroll. So, when you have your own business page, it's not as authentic as like your own personal accounts. So my recommendation is to, if you're comfortable, keeping your personal accounts and building in a way to talk about your Outschool journey in there, instead of creating like a separate business one, just because then it can get like some salesy. However, some teachers do have success talking about it because they'll have learners or families that really love that teacher, and that teacher's traveling the world and they want to follow that teacher's journey. So then they follow that account and page because they know that, it's a safe, parent approved account. So yeah, there's no right answer, but you have to balance an authentic storytelling.
I agree. I don't share on Facebook, and I do have my stories on Instagram. I have a story highlight that says Outschool. So every now and again, I might go into my stories and share my wonderful day of teaching on Outschool, or share an image of me teaching, or not. Well, I don't record myself while I'm teaching, but after I'm done, I might snap a picture and then say a few words about my teaching for the day. So I agree. I think keeping it personal and talking to, having this open or authentic conversation definitely can be beneficial, because they'll see you as human, number one. And then number two, it gives parents the opportunity to get a feeling for who is this person. And that can also help them buy in to your class. And then you might find that, you won't ever be able to teach this person's child because they're outside of your age range. But maybe that parent, even though their child hasn't taken a class, they can see you are a great teacher. So then they'll recommend you to other teachers. So I don't think that it hurts to like have an Instagram page where you just weave in your Outschool story. If you have a blog already, I'm not saying go start a new blog, but if you have a blog already, it doesn't hurt to write a couple articles related to Outschool, because there isn't a whole lot of content. Well, there is growing, but it's not like a lot of content about Outschool. So there's still the opportunity to get picked up in Google for your keywords. I've been seeing some of my posts, some of my Outschool posts are like some of the highest ranking posts on my blog, and I wrote them years ago. I haven't written anything this year related to Outschool, but if you have a website, I definitely think it could be beneficial to write an article too. And I try to write mine so that it's called evergreen, an evergreen post that lives on and on and on, and I don't have to go fix it too much. But I try to write my articles that way so that it can be beneficial in the future when anyone is looking for or needs an answer to this particular question. So we did have a few questions. So I want to Diane asks, is there more call for elementary or middle school or high school classes? I am assuming that's what she's asking.
What type of age range? I think with families who are trying homeschooling for the first time, based on the types of the demographics of our learners right now, it is currently the younger elementary, middle school that we see the bulk of families coming into Outschool for. That there are still a lot of high school teens, but just not as many on Outschool right now. And I think that makes sense. Once you're an independent high school student, a lot of people are learning classes on YouTube or finding subjects other ways. So and they're in control of looking what they're learning for. Meanwhile, with the elementary and middle school age ranges, these are parents or families that are trying to fill in a curriculum and provide schooling solutions during the full week, and they're the ones looking probably for the most help right now.
Yeah, thanks, Bianca. I don't have anything to add to that one.
Yeah, we still see tons of teens coming. It's just not as voluminous,
Yeah. We had another question, and I think you kind of touched on this earlier, but is it better to have classes that meet once a week or more complete curriculum that meets several times a week?
Yeah, what we saw last year were classes that met once a week, semester-long classes, and some teachers did twice a week. But just this summer, camps, were so popular. Families loved multi-day camps that met 2 or 3 times a week. And so I don't have an answer because this year and this time is so unknown for everyone. There definitely are going to be families that just, I need my kid to be engaged every day at 8 a.m. or, my kid needs to more balance and different things. So I think once a week is steady, and then experimenting with camps or semester longs that meet multiple times, like twice a week, is definitely worth experimenting, but it's too soon to know, really.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have a class that meets twice a week, and it does well. It meets, one meets for 4 weeks, one meets for 5 weeks. But I started off both of those classes. They were longer classes that actually met for 12 weeks, twice a week. But I broke them down because I just needed to break them apart. And that seemed to go well. Of course, when you're teaching classes that meet multiple times a week, you do have to calculate the costs. Parents would have to pay more to buy into those classes. So don't undersell yourself because you're afraid that the price is too high. So you might have to, you might decide to do, like I did, and break them apart because there are more meeting times in the for that particular class.
And while the marketing campaign's going to be focusing on semester long and ongoing, there's still that middle of those 4 or 5 weeks, those shorter courses, and families will be filtering for those, and we'll still educate them about all the product offerings. So yeah, it's finding that right balance.
Well, those are all of our questions. If you guys have other questions, you're more than welcome to leave a comment on today's broadcast, and we will respond to you as we can. We'll respond to any questions that you leave underneath today's post in the group. Bianca, thank you so much for joining this morning.
really, really great to think through and talk through. And as more questions come up, I'd be happy to come back, or we can follow up with a more, a more detailed blog post or something. So as we learn more about what's going on with the times, like we'll continue to share those learnings. And you just never know if something crazy happens to the world. We'll get quick, everyone offer camps, or quick, we'll communicate those, and we'll make sure. But we're really excited for back to school, and I'm glad that teachers can have some consistency.
You said blog posts. What blog posts are you talking about? Where do we find these blog posts?
Yeah, so I share a regular supply and trends on teach.outschool.com. So that's our teaching focused blog with resources and tips. Separately, we have blog.outschool.com for business updates and things for tips for families. And that's more focused for families looking for homeschooling solutions and specific topics. But the Teach resource page will continue to share links there.
All right. So y'all heard Bianca. Go to teach.outschool.com for updated blog posts and content to help you as an Outschool teacher. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. Remember to take care of yourselves, unplug, do something that nurtures your soul, because we can all teach. But as Bianca shared earlier, we don't want our Outschool teachers to burn out. And as an Outschool teacher, it's easy to burn out. So I want you guys to remember to just sign off and take a break at some point this weekend.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thanks, Latonya.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here, Bianca.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know how to hang up, though. There.